Hey, it's David Beebee. I'm back here again at Sound Effects Premiere in Ormskirk, and I'm very excited to give you a demo of the brand spanking new PRS John Mayer signature guitar. Now, this guitar has got to be the most talked about, anticipated, debated, and dare I say even controversial guitar introduction of 2018, and perhaps even in my recent memory, for some very obvious and maybe some not so obvious reasons that we may or may not get into in this video. I don't know, there's been 1,000 hot takes on this already, but we shall see. But anyway, here at Sound Effects, we all love PRS, and we certainly love a bit of John Mayer, and couldn't wait to get this in the doors and to get our hands on it and check it out. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, it's well known that John had parted ways with Fender several years ago. And yeah, he's been playing a lot of PRS in the meantime, struck up a really strong relationship with Paul and the design team. And in fact, they have done 2 other signature products that you might not have heard of. They were very luxurious, expensive, high-end pieces of kit. There was the John Mayer amplifier that they did, PRS John Mayer amp, and also the PRS John Mayer Super Eagle, which was a much more regular PRS inspired design, but with like a 10 grand price tag. So the introduction of this model, this is by comparison much more affordable, but it's still a very high-end, well-made, American-made PRS instrument. And it's PRS's take on splitting the difference between 2 of John's favourite instruments, the 63 and the 64 era S-type guitars. And a lot of the specs of this are referred to as the 63.5. So let's go through some of the specs and then we'll hear some sounds. So starting at the top of the guitar, the first thing you'll notice is the headstock looks a little odd. And that's because it's elongated and flipped around to help with you not needing a string tree. And yeah, we've got the Paul Reed Smith logo, and these are sort of vintage locking tuners with a matte finish on the tuning heads. Very good high quality, good for tuning stability. As you can see on the back there, it's matte finish and sort of vintage type. And we've got maple neck with a lacquer on, but it's not too sticky. It's nice and protective. We've got a Rosewood Fingerboard and slightly smaller birds than would usually be on a PRS. And we've got a very vintage radius, so it's a 7 1/4 radius here. So it's great for those Hendrixisms or Mayerisms as there may be now, the blending chordal and lead playing. So yeah, it's got a nice feel for those cowboy chords as well down the bottom of the neck. Obviously it's a bolt-on neck. We've got the Silver Sky and the John Mayer signature here. Also on the back there, there's the trem cavities left open, which is quite cool, quite hip, and I think to John's requirements. We've got 4 springs in the back, which affects the trem. We'll come to that in a moment. So then on the body, very familiar, comfortable body shape, obviously. And yeah, we've got this really nice onyxy black finish, and all of the finishes that they do, I think there are 5 of them, have this like accented metallic feature, if you like, on the lower horn here, cut away. And I'm not sure if you'll see that quite clearly. We will cut it in with some sweeps, but yeah, it's got a very nice offset aesthetic there. 3 single coils, of course, volume in 2 tones and a 5-way blade. So there's some really interesting refinements that have been made here to the usual S-type guitar. So we've got this, rather than being flush or indented, the input jack is slightly chamfered outwards. The 5-way blade's got a really thick, almost like a Fisher-Price chunky switch tip on it, and you're really not going to miss it. It's really cool, feels really good, and to flick that up and down. And yeah, so the knobs are speed knobs, so they turn really quickly, but still vintage looking. The trem arm, this feels a little bit shorter, maybe like a bit of a Gilmore type thing. That pull in and out and adjust with screw on the back for tension. We've got 6-screw trem, and that's been set flush to the body as per John's requirements. That's how he likes it. It's It's quite a stiff feeling, but not in a bad way. It's definitely secure, it's not clunky. But yeah, I like my trems floating, but I'm not John Mayer, so I don't get to say how this is set up. Yeah, what else do we have here? Yeah, so the neck. So the neck, I think, is splitting the difference once again between that 63 and the 64. So it's a very comfortable, but not and vintage, but not sort of super chunky baseball bat. Yeah, what else can we say about the specs? Yeah, nice oversized strap buttons. So even if you don't have locks, it's not going to come, unlikely to come tumbling off. And yeah, there you go. There we have it. Those are the specs. So let's move on and check out how it sounds. Okay, so starting off at the neck pickup with everything rolled up to 10. I've got this clean tone. Running through this PRS Sanzara 50, and clean tone is like this. Going down to position, so that putting the neck and middle combined, we get down to the middle pickup. Okay, so going down another position, we've got the bridge and the middle combined, and we get this kind of tone. And finally on the bridge pickup with a clean tone. Okay, so let's do the same again, some drive. I'm going to use a Wampler Euphoria, and starting in the neck pickup, I've also got a smidgen of reverb on, as you can probably hear. Get this tone. Going down to that middle and neck together. Down to the middle pickup. Now we've got the middle and the bridge together. need the bridge on its own. Okay, so there you have it. That's our demo overview of the brand new PRS John Mayer signature guitar. I can't go without throwing in my 2 cents about the whole controversy, just because it's so much fun. And yeah, I mean, there's obviously taken a lot of flack, and for it's a Strat with a different headstock, etc., etc. And there's been some observation about, well, people don't say the same thing about Sir or Tom Anderson or any other S-type inspired luthiers, big or small. And I think one of the things that's come to my mind in the last few days actually about PRS is that PRS kind of stuck their flag in the ground 20 odd, 30 years ago with an individual new design, and that was what they're about. And I think companies like perhaps Sir and Tom Anderson and kind of set out from the beginning to make Strat type guitars. So maybe that's where some of the heat is coming from, is that they've pivoted slightly to do something that's far more traditional. But the end result of what they've done is a really great guitar, and for the price as well, you're getting a US made PRS take on that classic S type, and it's got John Mayer's stamp on it as well. And if you're a fan of his, then absolutely you want to check it out. I think a lot of people were thinking this was going to come in at 4K, and it's absolutely nowhere near. This is 2300, and that's if we're in the UK, that's pounds. I think it's probably the same in dollars if you're in the US. So, and I want to say affordable, but a professional, you could see this as a professional working instrument. It's certainly not the Super Eagle 11,000 mark that's out of reach for most people. If you're a John Mayer fan, or you just want to check out another manufacturer's take on the 3 single coil classic S-type, I highly advise you to do so. And why not come down to Sound Effects Premiere and say hello to the guys. Okay, well, until next time, my name's David Beebee, and yeah, I'll see you soon.